All right, guys, welcome to Restorative Yoga. Everyone here, smaller group of regulars. Remember, Restorative Yoga, think of the first four letters, rest. Even though we get you in positions, they're very restful and easy and passive. Nice for deep releasing of the body. Think about holding postures a little bit longer that are a little bit easier than some of the other classes, okay? Now, the first week we did Restorative Yoga, we didn't do really one of the most profound and kind of fundamental restorative yoga poses, and that's legs up the wall. So that's where we're going to start tonight. We're going to kind of pick up where we ended last week. If you just ate or something and you don't want to do legs up the wall, I do have a couple of nice, easy options. If you just peek up at me before you get into your posture, an easy variation of legs up the wall could be this. It's just to get a little bit inverted, okay? Another nice inversion option could be this. If you're just looking for something a little bit softer, right? I know a couple, three or four, three or is it on the East Coast, this is even easier. Or if you don't have a props, you can put your feet on the couch like this, okay? Or if you're gonna go for the whole thing here, we're gonna throw those legs up the wall. So the goal is to create conditions that encourage repair and healing, cleansing, rejuvenating of the mind and body. All right. So putting our legs up here, we're going to get that drainage of the legs. I like to bring my arms wide, but there are other options: covering your eyes, putting a little pillow under your head. I like to keep it pretty simple. Some people like to tie their feet together with a strap because they don't fall apart. And try to get in a position where you can hold, because we're going to go first position 5 minutes, starting the timer now. If you don't want to do this, you can just lay on your back and do Shavasana, the ultimate restorative position. Let's just take a few breaths to start practice here. A nice slow inhale in your nose. Maybe lifting the abdomen a little bit extra. Big exhale. So either way, you can just see our goal was to get our legs above our torso. Whether it's bent, if it's up a little bit, up on a couch, a chair works fine, okay? Or the wall for the full variation. Anytime we have pain in our feet, knees, ankles, shins, thighs, hamstrings, you name it, anywhere in the lower limbs, we put those legs up, okay? Nice deep inhale in your nose. Nice deep exhale. Remember that this is a belly breath, trying to help encourage that parasympathetic, so the vagus nerve, all right? I'm going to give you another you have about 2.5 minutes left. So just try to relax now, close your eyes, and just enjoy the positions. Try not to fidget, unless you need to adjust to be comfortable, okay? If you start to feel some tingling sensations in the feet, that's totally normal. You're always welcome to exit whenever you need. Just do so slowly. Okay, another good 2 minutes here, guys. Try to stay with it. Here's where the benefits are really happening. All right, guys, so that's about a 5-minute hold already, a little over actually. I'll let you decide if you want to stay a little longer. I think that's a good place to start. You can bend your knees and kind of slowly come off of the wall, roll to your side, okay? So just take a moment here to kind of sit up here and kind of shake your legs out a little bit. In a sense, bring now the torso above the legs, just to get that blood flow into your legs. When you practice that, you can go 10 or 15 minutes, but that's already, a pretty good hold. So, a little bit of movement here, just kind of bending and straightening my knees. So just to remember, anytime the legs hurt in the ancient naturopath Ayurvedic doctors, keep those legs up in the air 3 times a day for basically as long as you can handle, okay? All right, guys, so let's keep going here. Next thing, we're gonna lay on our back, have your props handy, all right? And we're just gonna start with our knees into our chest. And just take a moment here like you would do in gentle yoga or any yoga class really. Just draw a couple circles. Think feel good movement and massage. I like to say this idea of kind of move in ways that feel good. I'm rolling my ankles, I'm drawing circles with the knees individually, put them together. Okay, give a quick squeeze again. And then what we're gonna do here, yogis, is place our feet down wide. Again, see if you can bring your arms nice and wide. That's a gentle way we encourage the posture, the shoulders to roll back. I'm just gonna rock my knees now to the right. Feel a pretty good stretch there today. And then nice over to the left. So now we start to just rotate the hips a little bit. Over to the right. Over to the left. A few more times, please. So this is the class where we take the most subtle things and we spend extra time, exposing more with subtle methods. As your knees go right, you can let your head fall left, so kind of the opposite. And then as your knees go left, you can let your head fall right. If it feels good to pause, you're more than welcome to. All right, for our next exercise here, guys, I'll start demoing. The easiest is what we're gonna do is take up a blanket. So I have a blanket, and what I'm gonna do, some of these postures take a little setup here, depending on your props. Now, the easiest is gonna be something like this. You see how I have a blanket rolled up like a little roll here, see that? And tonight, we're actually gonna try this. I mentioned it last week. We're gonna put the blanket literally right in our lower back arch. Okay, now I wanna settle into this nice and slow. The back is gonna compress the blanket. The blanket's not too thick. If you want more, just hold on a sec because we're gonna use the bolster, the pillow. Notice my hips are on the floor and my shoulders are on the floor. Usually the prop lifts either the hips or the chest. So then I'm gonna try to release my legs here. I, again, would like to try to reach my arms back. We want a lot of opening in the underarms in restorative yoga, okay? So as you can see, it's right under my lower back arch. Now, if you want a little bit more, guys, you're not gonna use the blanket. You're gonna try to lift your hips up, and the bolster is underneath my lower back arch. So it's not underneath my hips or my shoulders, okay? Arms can go up and back. And this is a passive way we get into a nice spinal extension, okay? Nice big inhale into the belly. You can widen your feet if that feels better. Now, if you don't have a bolster or a blanket like this, you can use a throw pillow. It can't be too big of one, okay? But it does work. As you can see, I put it up near my kind of middle back. I try to let my hips drape over it. And there we go, getting a little lift through my middle lower back. All right, yogis, close your eyes. Take a good another 3 minutes or so here in silence. Try to breathe here into your abdomen for a few breaths. Maybe even holding the breath at the top and then kind of sighing the breath out. So try to use the breath for the first, let's say, minute, and then I'll cue you to relax the breath and we're just completely melt into your form. So if you're just joining a little, we did legs up the wall for 5 minutes. We did a little knees into the chest with some circling, massaging type movements. We did a little windshield wiping just to create some blood flow, movement. And now we're in this nice first back bend. If you're breathing deep and it feels really good and you can stay rather relaxed, you can continue with breath work. But ideally, I do want the body to really just melt and get. I want you to practice being lazy, all right? You're almost drooling here. That's how surrender and released you are. Your face is relaxing, your jaw, your eyes. You literally, guys, it's a practice of resting, okay? So take a good another minute and a half, 2 minutes, and just enjoy it. If you're just joining, we're in a posture between restorative bridge and restorative fish. It's where my rolled up blanket here is one option, or my bolster is literally right in my lower back arch. Okay, we already did the nice legs up the wall and some therapeutic movements to get some blood flowing. So if you joined a little after we started, no big deal. Just mix in a little extra movements to feel good and wake the body up. Get a little blood flow going, okay? Now, I don't want to hold this too long, guys, okay? You have the option of bending one knee, kind of rolling to the side. Just be easy, that's a tough exit. The other option is to lift my hips and try to get that prop out of there nice and slow, okay? Again, you're more than welcome to hold longer. This stuff seems simple, but it is actually a lot on the body, okay? So, let's err on the side of caution, a little bit shorter holds. That's pretty good hold there. So I take a moment to kind of just neutralize, roll out my wrists and ankles, anything else that feels good. Now, our next posture is a little bit bigger, all right? Here's where you might want the bolster, a throw pillow. Now, let me just show you what we're gonna do, just in case. You don't really need a bolster. Some of us are just gonna release our legs, and we're just gonna hold here. This is our easiest variation. We're gonna hold here for 1 minute per side. Now, if you want a little more, wait for me now. We're gonna put the bolster underneath our kind of middle lower butt. And then we're slowly gonna bring the left leg forward. With our hips lifted and propped via the bolster, we're now gonna bring our right knee into the chest. And we're gonna get a little bit more of that like hip flexor on the left side open. So I take my hands around my knee. If it can't, you can use a towel here if it's a little too much, okay? And then I'm just gonna slowly pull that knee in. I notice my bolster's a little uncomfortable, so I would move a tiny bit higher under my sacrum. There we go. My left leg's gonna release my right knee in. Now I'm gonna start the clock. Try to relax. Let your left hip flexor open and pull that right knee in lightly. Try to relax more, yogis. Let gravity do the work. Let your weight over the props do the work. If you wanted a lot more, yogis, we do it with a block as well. A block under your sacrum as your left leg goes forward and your right knee comes in. So this is a really nice hip flexor release on your left side. Okay, let's take another good 30, 45 seconds on the first side. Now we don't want to hold this too long. It's a very big opening. I'm going to carefully bring my right foot down and then slide my left foot in. Maybe take a moment if I want to, do a little windshield wipe or, shake out the legs. Okay. But go slow, be easy, right? But if you want to throw in a little bit of intuitive movement, that's always good stuff in any yoga class, okay? Right leg is eventually going to go forward. This is another one. It's common to feel like tingling. Totally normal. Only about a minute and a half hold or so. All right, so I'm going to bring my left knee toward my left shoulder. Try to relax and close my eyes. Breathe. I'm not squeezing like too intensely. Once I get that knee up and forward, if you can't do that, you grab the back of the leg. And if you can't do that, like I said, you could throw a towel, hand towel, or yoga strap, either behind that knee crease area or shin around it, and you pull on your strap here. It's a little bit more traditional restorative yoga. Let's close our eyes. Let's relax. Let that left hip flexor pinch. It just opened, remember? Now it's pinching on the other side and opening. Couple breaths here. Remember, you don't need a prop, so you can just do it on the ground and you get still a ton of benefit. And let us remember that we're targeting our colon as well. So really good for the bottom of the digestive tract down there, making sure nothing's stuck, blocked, creating some pinching for blood flow as well. Good for those blood vessels. All right, now take your time. We're going to release our legs here. Take a moment. If you wanted to, just release both legs, whether you're on the bolster still or not, you can release your legs forward all the way. Okay, and then we'll take a full body stretch. So kind of first time actively reaching. It's a fantastic way to stretch out the core and the underarms. It's kind of like waking up in the morning. You reach your arms just far beyond your ears and your legs forward. You stretch it out. All right, yogis, we're going to bring our knees into our chest. Now, for this twist variation, if you want to just do a simple yoga twist, that's fine. You might want to take a prop between your thighs. So it's just a gentle twist, common yoga pose here, nothing too fancy. You could take a prop between your thighs. I have a bolster pillow underneath on the outer side. just so it's not like as deep. So, you know, you can keep your feet on the floor or not. And now here we go for that kind of more twist hold. I try to relax here, guys. We didn't do this one last week. Remember we did the Kundalini twist. See if you can let your head fall to the left. A lot of the arms wide here, guys, today. Open up that chest and just close your eyes now. A good minute and a half, 2 minutes here. Again, look at me adjusting to try to get comfortable, okay? And there's a nice spot that feels pretty good to me. And I'm just gonna relax now. Maybe a couple of deep breaths into your lower back and side body. Wherever you feel the tightness. Try to notice if you're holding any tension on a very kind of unconscious level or a subtle level. And keep relaxing deeper and deeper. Restorative yoga is an excellent place to kind of really get a good look at more subtle spaces in the body and kind of expose tension you didn't really know was there. All right, last few breaths. Please take your time. Arms bend. Hopefully you're feeling that, guys. If you reach your arms wide, in every angle, a little bit here is different from here and here and here and here. You can feel a nice stretch in your underarms, hopefully, okay? Now go slow. I'm gonna slowly bring my knees back to center. I'm gonna take a squeeze, okay? And we're just gonna do our second side, no rush. We're gonna bring that prop over to the left. I'm gonna let my knees fall to the left. I'm gonna adjust to get comfortable. Remember, we want to encourage healing in the body in this class. And that does take restful form, restful breath, restful mind. All right? Our body heals when we're resting, not when we're exercising. There's no healing when you're exercising. There's no muscle growth. And yes, your muscles look like they're growing, but you don't actually have protein synthesis. So we want to encourage this deep relaxation, meditative trance. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable here on my second side. And I'm just gonna relax now, all right? Close your eyes, maybe a couple breaths to start. Eventually, even letting the breath relax. Now, yogis, you're kind of on your own, right? Restorative yoga is a very personal process, and some of us need twist longer. Some of us might want to hold that for another couple minutes. That's fine. We're only going to release anyway, neutralize, so you have plenty of time to hold longer if you'd like. All right. And then whenever you do exit, you kind of find yourself in, let's call this like a neutral position. And our next posture is quite relaxing. We have about 2 to 3 more things here on the back. We'll do a few in seated position today, okay? So, after you neutralize, our next position, if you want extra support today, true, restorative yoga, guys, and it's all restful, it's not like it's strenuous. So I'm gonna take my 2 bolsters here, and I'm gonna put them outside my thighs. I'm starting to demo what's next. And I'm doing this butterfly. My soles of my feet came together, my knees fall apart. Now, if you want bigger stretch, you don't put pillows underneath your outer thighs, knees, right? That's kind of self-explanatory there. Now, I got a couple of options if you want to just stay here and relax, or without support and relax. That's awesome. Some of us revisiting something we did from last week. I haven't been working this in many of the yoga classes as of lately. I do want to bring this back around. This is the posterior neck traction, the trigger point of the occipitals. So right here, I place the block underneath the base of my skull. All right. And now some of us might want to just hang here. Okay. It's really nice, guys. The edge of the block is not jamming into my neck. It's right at the base of my skull. And I have to kind of play with the position of the block. And then I'm just going to nice and slow start to, rock side to side here. And I'm thinking like self-massage. When you're thinking of restorative, when your body hurts, good massage will really help you a lot, right? So we're kind of doing that on our own. And then, it feels pretty comfortable. I'm just going to kind of relax my arms wherever they feel comfortable. I'm just going to get into the back of my neck, just very soft, subtle, caring. Let's take a good another minute here, guys. Try to just really enjoy it. What's happening in your mind is the whole process. All right, we can have the best methods in the world, but if you're kind of holding on to stress from your day, or just even stressed out to be in such a slow class. All right, I know this type of class feels like we're not doing much, and a lot of people don't come because of that. But I tell you, if you want to feel good, you rejuvenate and rest. You heal and rest. You rebuild muscle and brain. Your brain cleanses and rests. Okay? So we just want to do some light positions, but mostly rest. And if you have trouble with that kind of patience aspect, come on now, change that. Try to relax and enjoy it. Make it feel good. Ideally, in every position, you get to the point where you're almost like, you're not asleep, but you're like really in a relaxed state. It's almost like you're right before sleep. That's alpha brain. right? Beta brain is like what I'm in right now. I'm thinking, I'm talking, my mind is working. And you're going a little bit more like alpha. It's where you should take right before sleep, this very restful but still awake position. Okay? That's what we're looking for in here. If you can fall asleep, do that too. That's actually better. That's the best meditation. All right. Now listen, guys, slowly remove our block. Maybe use your hands to bring your knees back together. All right, now watch me if you're new, guys. You're gonna need your two props. One is between the knees. So 2 pillows if you have it. We're gonna roll onto our side. This one's not the easiest to get into. You're gonna actually need 3 props. If you don't have 3, just don't put one between your thighs, okay? So this is the pose. Now, last week we did the bolster underneath your armpit and your upper ribs. I'm actually gonna have you go into the lower. It's not under my hips. I have to put it right underneath. Look at this, my right arm reaches forward. My second pillow is for my head. Now, this is the pose. All I really want, mainly, is for my bolster pillow. This is not one where we use a block, guys, okay? It's pushing into my lowest part of my ribs and my side body. Now, if you do have 3 bolsters, I have like 4 bolsters. You know, I've been collecting them for years over the time, right? And look at that. This is true restorative yoga. You know, some of these I push a little bit to make it a little more active. So there we are. I'm just trying to relax now. I also like to throw my left arm around my back. A lot of people say they don't like that version, but I just feel more of that kind of opening here. I don't really like it with my arm in front. So that's something you might have to play with a little bit, depending on what's comfortable for you, here, maybe here, behind. But again, I'm on my side body, okay? Close your eyes. A couple of deep breaths where you feel kind of it spreading down into the bolster. And almost here lifts because of your position, your side left ribs. All right, let's try to get comfortable here, yogis. Again, it's okay to fidget a little in the beginning, but you got to stop the fidgeting eventually, guys, because you're not even close to alpha brain if you're fidgeting, all right? Think of those nights when you can't sleep, you fidget a lot, right? You keep moving and you're trying to get comfortable. So you want to get yourself in a position where you can start to become very still. And then you want to really try to close your eyes and relax your face. You might take a few breaths, but you're working towards really just a surrenderous melting. Like I said, it's like, what's that one? Like, trying to think of a little example here. What's that one medication? Like Valium makes people like, oh, think of that. You got a half shot of that. And you are literally just a blob of bones melting into the floor, okay? Take another minute and a half or so with this one on this side. All right, yogis. Ideally, like I said, you can basically go to right where you almost like feel like you're gonna fall asleep. And then maybe we'll switch sides. Okay. So take your time. You know, I want to do a couple more postures this evening. There will be classes if we continue this one. When we do like some restorative yogas, you do 3 poses in an hour. That's it. All right. So that's 20 minutes each. And if it's 2 sides, it's 10 minutes. So we'll do one of those one night, but not tonight. So we're going to roll onto our left. And again, maximum comfort. Take some time to get in. If you're like me, I have firm bolsters and soft bolsters. Firm, soft. That's a kind of yoga thing. And this one, you actually want you want the softer bolster usually on the bottom. Okay. This is a firm bolster, is a little bit too intense here. Okay. So there it is. Enjoy that rest, yogis. You're giving your body the space to do what it's designed to do. Heal itself, cleanse itself, create energy in the mitochondria. But you got to give it that space to do so, the right conditions. Another 2 minutes here, yogis. Now, yogis, please take your time. I got to be careful not to fall asleep here when I'm doing this with you. So, no rush, right? You're going to slowly exit position. You got to kind of use your hands to sit up. Move your props. And we're going to do one more thing on the back. It's kind of a play on what we did last week. You're not going to really need any props for this one. All right. So eventually we're going to make our way onto our back. We're going to stretch our hamstrings in a moment. But just for a moment now, watch what I'm going to do. This is a play on something we did last week. Last week we did this shoulder compression. And we're going to do something like that. And you got to kind of listen and play with this a little bit. My palms are going to go down by my sides. I'm going to lift my hips 2 inch like a bridge. And I'm just going to slide my back of my hands underneath my buttocks. So my right hand is underneath my right kind of hip. My left hand under my left hip. And then I do that same thing I did before. It's like a little knee rock side to side. The main goal here is hand massage, okay? And then, what I'm going to do is kind of lift my hips again, reposition my hands a little bit higher. You will get a light shoulder stretch too, nothing crazy. Notice I'm going to the right, kind of pausing now, and then I go to the left and pause, Again, the goal is to kind of shift weight onto your hand. And now, as I rock right and left, I'm moving my hands a little lower. So my wrists are even underneath my buttocks a little bit more. The yogis, it's a wrist hand massage. That's all it is. Okay? So try to just get into your wrists and your hands. Self massage is such a therapeutic method. All right? It can really release a lot of endorphins. It can do things that stretching cannot. So just take a few moments here with your compression. A lot of times I'll keep my right hand under my right hip. I'll even move my left hand under my sacrum. So now it's like a bony tool, and I'll use my sacrum, the heart-shaped bone in the middle of the pelvis, to kind of push down a lot firmer, a lot more firm, but it's not like you have to do that. It depends on how it feels. All right, and you want to get into this. You don't want to do it for 10 seconds. You want to do it for a minute or 3. Sometimes I go even a lot longer with this. And I'm noticing, ooh, my right hand is very sore once I've let the sacrum more onto it. Something in between the webbing of my thumb and my index finger. And I can tell that I need this right now. So I'm going to do my right hand a little extra, okay? So that's how I'm personalizing this little hand method. You can even bring the hand up the back more and do it with your back. If you know how to do those methods, you're more than welcome. I don't want to do too much there, make it too confusing. All right? As long as we're kind of compressing, shifting weight onto the hand and wrist, you're doing what we're looking for. And you can see I'm even putting my right hand and wrist underneath my sacrum. You can't see my hand, but there it is. And I actually, look what I did there. I even lifted my feet. I put all that weight right into my wrist. Really feels like I need it because I've been doing a lot of like plank holds. I feel like my wrist kind of hurts a little bit there, but that's really feeling good right now. All right, but I want to keep moving, guys. Class is moving fast. I can take my hands out, give them a little roll, a little wiggle, a little shake. Okay? So a little something there for your hands. And then if you want a quick happy baby, you're more than welcome to. We are about to go into child pose and hamstring stretch. So take a moment. Happy baby might feel good, just kind of bending and straightening the knees a little bit. Just coming back to movement after a couple holds here. All right, and then if you're comfortable, slowly, you can roll to the side and sit up, or if you prefer, rock forward and back. Let's make our way up to seated. All right, guys, child pose option. I have 2 options for you guys. Look at my knees are wide. I slide the bolster right up between the thighs. My belly, ribs, chest is all supported. We're not going to go too long tonight, but I do want to stretch out the ankles, the thighs by bending the knees, okay? Now, another nice option, we didn't do this one last week. It's a nice self-massage variation for the front of your head. You'll need your block. I place my forehead on the block. Notice my eyes are not covered. My eyebrows, I start to rock side to side, getting a little massage here. Try to remain relaxed. And give yourself a little kind of massage in the forehead and the eyebrows. So either a resting, kind of supported child pose, or a nice kind of forehead, bridge of the nose, eyebrow massage. Another minute and a half or so, yogis. This is a really good method. Whenever I feel like I have like a headache or pressure just in my forehead or my eyebrows, or right here, it's a common place between your eyebrows. People like squeeze together, right? Kind of, you know, this is a place in our body we activate a lot without really realizing it. You notice if you're on your feet all day or you're using your hands a lot, but if you squeeze between your eyebrows a lot here, it sometimes can kind of go under your radar. And anytime, sometimes I sinuses, right? You get sinuses, and I feel pressure building through here. I do this a lot, yogis, and I have done this. I've done this for like 15, 20 minutes, and I've actually had some like not bruising, but like almost irritation. So you don't want to like go too much, but you can go for a long time. I have done it tens of, I don't want to say hundreds, but somewhere between probably 50 and 90 times for like 5, 10 minutes. And it's really nice, yogis. Depending on the block you have too. I have cork blocks. Those are a little bit more firm. I have the blue foam blocks. Those are really soft and nice. The one I'm using there is like a middle recycled block. It's a kind of firm, but still soft. I like that one a lot for this. And even you can see, look, it's like a little red here, even though I only did it for like a minute, right? So, if you're new to it, just be a little easy. You don't want to irritate the skin too much in case if you bruise easy. It's just like massage. Work into it. Don't kind of give your body too heavy of a dose the first day. See how it reacts. And then next time you notice, you remember this method and it helps blood flow. It's going to help reduce wrinkles too, right? That's definitely proven that massage increases blood flow, changes fascial matrix, creates heat, and it can reduce wrinkling, changing the fascial structure, okay? All right, guys, so that's a pretty nice child pose. I want to keep going, and we only got about 10, 12 minutes left in class, so I do want to finish up here on a good note. So we're going to make our way up to seated and swing our legs around. Now, last week we did this straight leg forward fold with our props propped up. Now we're going to do the single leg. So hopefully you do have some props, yogis. If you don't, it's okay. You can just still hold the stretch. But I'm kind of getting all my props ready here. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. Pillow. I take the left foot on the inner right thigh. Okay, see that? And I have my one prop first here. That's like the main one, really. Now, the other props, I could go like this. See how I take the bolster on top of my thigh, and then I start to kind of get lazy on top of it. That's one option. A lot of people it's not my favorite personally, but a lot of people really like that one. Now, what I have to do is just widen my foot a little bit so I can start to stack blocks, bolsters, and then I start to lay forward. Now, I got to kind of pull it in a little bit, reposition so I'm comfortable. Just like the big yoga postures, these take time to get into and be comfortable. Now, I know a lot of you might not be flexible enough for this. So what I suggest is sitting with your back up against the wall. That's like your first true support. Just trying to push your back up against the wall to sit up, maybe starting to go forward, having your hands on the floor. If you're not very flexible, this is not an easy one to get into, okay? So try to relax now, get comfortable, turn your ear down, and just take some breaths. We're trying to find ways to do postures that you do sometimes in a little bit softer, more supported way. Even postures like child pose and this forward bend can be quite intense and strenuous on the body, okay? right, yogis, let's slowly sit up. Hopefully you don't hear our new puppy. She's locked down in the bathroom. She's barking. She hears me talking, so she's barking at me and saying, let me out of here. So guys, what we do is just simply switch sides. Now I did the warm up on the inner thigh earlier, so it wasn't so restricted. I know the inner thigh can be tight on a lot of people. So see how I take that bolster first, pillow, then I take my little blocks, boom, and boom, all right. See me fidgeting a little just to get more comfortable? And it's okay, yogis, if you want to just do it like this. Just try to be soft, a little bit more relaxed. If you tend to be very kind of assertive and go, go, go and active, be softer tonight. I know that's challenging for some of us. But usually that's where our growth is, guys. It's these areas we're not good at. It's not just by kind of, people when exercise will stick to one thing, oh, I'm good at cycle, and they'll just keep doing that, or I'm good at this style of yoga, and they just keep going to that. And as soon as they get out of the other yoga, they don't want to go to that instructor because it doesn't fill their kind of expectations and their desires. But that's not really being a very good student, because if the teacher doesn't fit your little narrow mind, you're not going to take it. I always try to suggest, go to teachers you don't like. There's a lot to learn about yourself in those classes, much more than a little, muscular exercise. But doing the exercises you don't like in a way you don't normally do or don't prefer, there's a lot deeper things happening in those states too. And I just bringing that back to just being more passive. If you're always trying to push it, you're trying to stretch to get more flexible always, rather than just kind of creating a form and just being kind of heavy, melting, and almost lazy. Okay, so you got a last breath or 3 here. And I saw a couple of you took a little bit longer to get into that side. So you just take it your time, right? Maybe your left hamstring's really tight and you want to stay with that a little bit longer. So there's our hip stretches. If you want to do anything else, we got time for about one more pose. If you want to do Shavasana, that's excellent. I usually would always teach Shavasana, but I'm going to do restorative fish with a bolster tonight to close class. It's basically Shavasana. Okay, so our final pose that I'm going to instruct, you're going to remove those props. The easiest variation is to once again roll basically think of like a smaller bolster. See how I roll it up? I call it a little yoga blanket burrito. I also have about 12 of these things laying around over the years. You just keep getting them, right? If you ever go to Mexico, they're like $5 each down there. So this is going to go underneath our upper back, okay? So we did something earlier kind of like this, and it seems somewhat similar, but it's actually not, right? So you can see it's more underneath like my chest. My chest muscles are here. It's kind of right underneath there, all right? Now, you can do more with the legs. I think we did enough with the legs, but if you wanted to go big and you wanted to do like a plow, They have, restorative plow pose. That's like advanced restorative, but you're more than welcome to do that. If you want a little bit more, you take a bigger prop. Now, it is the end of class, so you can see how I didn't use a block under my head. So I'm going to go here, try to get my head fall back. This is going to stretch out the front of the neck. We're always looking down at the cell phone, right? A lot of people walk and you're looking down, or you're looking at your little doggy or something, okay? This is going to open up the front of the neck. Remember where the neck earlier was being like tucked via the block? This is that contrast position. We do it also with blocks if you're up for it tonight. Try to relax your legs wide. Close your eyes. So this is our final pose. This is going to lead us right till the end of class. If there's another pose, it's okay to do that, but just ideally it's still very restful. Maybe a couple breaths. This is one of my favorite poses for the belly breath development. Inhale, you can just naturally, because the back bend creates tightness in the ribs, your abdomen will lengthen and lift. Remember, yogis, that chest breathing has been associated with sympathetic, so stress brain. Like certain breath can change how your nervous system is functioning. Belly breath is associated with the creative, intelligent, tolerant, happy brain state, okay? So take and enjoy that last posture. You got about three good 4 minutes left, okay? Final pose. Now, before you start to exit anything, just kind of reflect on the practice. It's good to take a moment to kind of, just reflect and mentally digest everything that happened. This idea of practicing rest within positions, kind of like we practice intensity and activation in other positions, and even some of these as well. Here's that other end of the spectrum. Just like being able to activate the body, being able to relax it is just as important and has a whole different kind of function within our wellness and longevity. All right. And then when you're going to decide to exit, you might have to kind of bend your knees and roll to the side or use your core and elbows and feet to kind of sit up. Stay longer if you'd like. It is a pretty big pose. I don't know what props you guys are all using. I can't really see anyone. So, uh, you know, I would think, I should teach first people who might be using blocks. So might want to not hold as long. 3 to 4 minutes is excellent. That's enough for fascial change. Anything after basically a minute and a half. Okay. So traditionally in yoga, we just sit up for a moment, just kind of tuck the chin. Maybe if you're into bringing your hands to prayer, maybe taking a deep breath or two. And I'm all about that gratitude meditation. Get better at remembering to do it, but also at emitting conscious gratitude. Creating like this tingling in the skin. Yogis call it a prayer, right? But I can just think of grateful thoughts and kind of say thank you to the energy, the oversoul, whatever you want to call it. And I really appreciate you guys showing up tonight. We'll go forward with this class. I might mix in some gentle yoga and some other variations. Next week, we are going to do some strap work. So hopefully you will have a yoga strap next week that can clamp. If you don't, no worries. I'll have variations for you anyway. But we will do some strap work next week, binding it around us and wrap it around our feet, our torso, our head, all this good stuff. All right? So thank you, yogis. Have a great rest of your evening. And class is on this weekend, tomorrow at 8, tomorrow at 9, and Sunday at 9 as well. All right? Namaste, everyone.